Happy Friday, guys. Dhylles Victoria here, Source Nation, Sip and Chat Movement, Sip and Chat World TV show. Hope everyone is doing great this Friday afternoon. And welcome to Source Radio Network Live Television. Once again, happy Friday. I have an amazing guest for you. She is a powerhouse in her own right. Love this woman dearly. I call her the happy coach. And you'll get to figure out more why. But before I begin, the show today, I'd like to thank our sponsors who made this very possible, and they are Zulina Health, Wellness, and Fitness, Paper to Film Productions, Meet My Type Matchmaking, Revolution Mills, Renovations, and New Covenant of Praise Worship Center. So thank you so much to our sponsors again, Source Nation. We're here. Happy Friday, Sip and Chat World Changers TV. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, I have an amazing, powerful guest for you guys. And I'd like to introduce to you the happy coach, positive living expert, everything positive extraordinaire, Miss Diane Lang. Hello, how are you?
Thank you so much for having me. Happy Friday to you.
Happy Friday, of course. I mean, when I started the show, it was like, I have to get Diane on the show. We need to get her on the show. So we had to make it possible for you to be on the show.
No, I'm so honored to be here with you because everything you do is all amazing and just as positive and happy as what I do. So it's a good match.
Thank you. Thank you. So before we move forward, what are you drinking today?
Well, unfortunately, it's only water.
It's okay. I got water too.
Yes. Still in the afternoon. If it was later, we could switch that.
Yes, if it was later, we could switch that. It's all good. So tell everyone who you are and what do you do and what makes you a world changer.
Sure. So my name's Diane Lang, and I am a positive psychologist. And what that means is I study and I teach happiness, resiliency, optimism, how to use your strengths to find out your purpose and passions in life, and really just to live a great life, to live your best life, and to just be able to have the steps, the tools, and the tips to move forward and to be healthy and happy. Been doing it now. I've been a therapist for about 20 years. I teach college here in New Jersey at Montclair State University. I've been there about 10 years in the undergrad psych department. And I've also been doing coaching for about the last 5 years, along with speaking, just trying to spread as much happiness and positivity as I can to, across the tri-state area here, and hoping to get to warmer areas like you soon.
Yes, definitely. Come on down to Savannah. We need some positivity and love in this area. That's amazing. How did you know that this was your mission, career, purpose?
Well, you probably hear this story a lot because a lot of us in the self-help field, whether it's, psychology, self-help, coaching, whatever it is, we've come from, somewhat of a dysfunctional background, to put it nicely. So I am one of those people. I always say all therapists are screwed up. That's why we became therapists. So I unfortunately came from a bad childhood, and, I could say unfortunately because I would never want to go through it again, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody. But I really feel there was such purpose in my pain because it brought me to a place of self-awareness to make the changes for myself, to be a better person, to be a different parent than my parents were, to be able to have healthy relationships. And from there, that really made me just want to help other people. I mean, that's really my only goal. Is I just hate seeing anybody who's suffering or in pain and doesn't even know that they have the ability to make those changes, or even to know that change is, available for them. A lot of people think they're just, a victim of their DNA, their genetics. This is who they are. They look at their parents, their family, and say, I can't do better than this. And we know now, scientifically as well as spiritually, you can do so much. And I just really want to give people the information and the tools to actually make the changes so they can be happier. And that's really just my goal in life. I've been trying to get there, as many people as I can, one step at a time. And that's why I said, right now I'm in the New York City tri-state area, but I'm hoping to spread that out soon and hit as many people as I can.
That's awesome. Talk about New York tri-state area. Ooh, child. A lot of people need it. I'm going to send a whole bunch of folk to you.
Yeah, here in New York, we're really screwed up, but
girl. But
it's very stressful here.
It is.
Outside of joking around, the New York City area is really known to be a type A personality. And, remember living there, we're always on the go. We have such a strong work ethic that we don't know when to slow down, to relax. We have control issues, perfectionism. We're always looking for acceptance and approval. We multitask even though our brains can't handle it. So there's just so much stress and anxiety here, as well as the financial. Just to live in this area is so expensive. So it's just a really stressful area. So living here is, and helping people, it's great, but I definitely want to expand it to warmer areas and areas where they're just a little more type B, because we all could use some extra happiness all the time.
I agree. I agree, definitely. And coming from that sector of going through abuse myself, I know what you're talking about, where it's just going through the process of healing and doing the work and all that stuff to get to where you want to get to, when people sometimes feel as if though they don't have it within themselves to do it,
Right.
that they're able to do it. You have the power within to do it. It's just being able and willing and ready.
Right. It's true. It's awakening people to that they have the ability,
Mm-hmm.
but also letting them know it's a choice, because just like you said, they have to want to.
Mm-hmm.
And the hardest part about that is feeling, because when you start feeling those emotions, it's very painful. It brings you back to a bad place, but you need to feel to heal. So there's so
That's
many
right.
tools and tips that you can use to make the transition a little smoother and easier. You still have to go through it. You still have to feel, but I want people to know, just like you and I, you can end up on the other side. I
Yeah.
always think it's like a U.
Yeah.
You're on one area, then you go down into counseling or healing, however you do it, and you hit that rock bottom, but then it goes right up. So it's
Exactly.
just, making sure that you realize it's a you, and you can start here and still end up at a good spot.
Yeah. Turning that tragedy into triumph.
Exactly.
However that fits in for you, and that's amazing that you do that. That's why I always call you the happy coach.
Well, same thing, helping a lot of people, through your sip and chat,
Yeah.
your radio, through your TV now, which is awesome. Congratulations. You
Thank
know,
you.
I've worked with you a million times. You've always been helpful, and I will continue to work with you. You've always been great.
Oh,
You always help and make us feel empowered in
oh
whatever we
yeah.
go.
Yeah. I think for me, my defining moment was 7 years ago, after I had a near-death experience with having infected fibroids. I feel like my spirituality is heightened to a different level, where I know that this is my purpose and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So, and I do it wholeheartedly, and it not only makes me happy, but it makes other people around me happy, and like you said, inspired. So I want to continue, just like you, to continue to spread that. It needs to be expanded to change the world, because the world, even though it's good, it's still screwed up in a way. So it takes
It,
people like us to actually make stuff happen by who we touch and who we help. So
exactly.
definitely.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
So what makes you a world changer?
I think that going around and speaking and touching different people's lives, I used to do it just one-on-one with counseling and coaching. And I realized that I could really hit more people if I started speaking and doing workshops and really giving people the tools. Like, I do a lot of speaking for corporations, libraries, colleges, but I never found myself a motivational speaker. And not
Mm,
that I think motivational speaking is so great, but for me, I always find myself more educational. I want people to actually have the tools. Like, when they leave, I want them to go, I have 6, 7 different actual steps that are realistic, they're sustainable, they don't cost any money, and they're not going to change your schedule, but they're going to cultivate more happiness and mindfulness. And that's so important, because I hear this all the time from clients. I want to be happier, I want to be more peaceful, I want to be de-stressed, but I have no more money and I have no more time. My whole family and work has taken all of that. And,
yeah.
how am I going to be happier? And I don't want it to be motivating, where it just motivates you, and then a weeks later you go, well, now what? That's why I
Yeah.
want sustainable. I want it to be realistic, that you can actually make it part of your lifestyle, that it becomes who you are, and that shifts your happiness. So that's why it's so important for me to get out there and be a world changer by giving those actual tips and tools. I mean, you want to motivate people, absolutely, but I want to give them more than that, because I want them to hold on to it and take it with them and use it in their everyday life, so they feel the difference.
And I feel like that's what sets you apart from all the other speakers out there, is because they speak and, they give examples of different things that they've been through. But I don't think that they really, really touch on, here's a tip and a strategy that you can use that worked for me, that
Right.
I know that, that kind of way. So I think that's amazing. And I think that sets you apart from everyone else, and it's effective. So
Thank
people
you.
always remember that, and they'll be like, well, damn, like Diane said it best, and this is what I should do. And it works in their favor. So that's amazing. I love that. I love that.
That's what
Yeah.
I do, because I love listening to motivational speakers, and there's such a big place for them. but it's always like a few weeks later when you start losing it and you get back into life
Yes.
and, reality hits again, then you start losing that feeling. So you
Mm-hmm.
really need both. You need the motivation, but you also need the actual tips and tools. So I think the mix of
Mm-hmm.
us together gives, people hope, which is the biggest
Yes.
thing we need, is that hope.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm hoping to do, is spread this throughout the world and be one of the world changers, as you said.
Yes, ma'am. And I feel with that being said too, that what if factor plays a huge part, because once you leave that event or hear a person speak and you're on that high, and then when
Right.
you come down from that high, it's like, well, wait, what do I do next?
Right.
That's a key. That's very important that you said that. That's awesome. That's really
That,
good.
that's my goal.
Yeah, no, it's a great goal. I'm with it 100%. So, how do you feel that you contribute to the world as a world changer? Like, what is that specific thing that you bring that's so rich and valuable and tangible that evokes emotions and feelings?
I think it's just being my authentic self. Like when I teach workshops or I'm with clients, I had a client on the phone the other day. 'Cause she doesn't live in the tri-state area, so we do our coaching by phone. And I said, most therapists don't share a lot of their past. We have certain boundaries, and some people are very, they don't even put pictures up of their family or wear a wedding band because they don't want people to know they have an outside life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay, but it's just not the way I work. I want people to know that I do understand. And I mean, I do keep up, a lot of the boundaries, but I have no problem explaining, I do know how that feels because I've been in those shoes. I've been in that abusive childhood, or I know what that feels like, even if I'm just given a brief few minutes about my background. But why I find that important is because it allows my clients or the students who are listening to me to go, she does understand. She's not just giving me something out of a textbook or scientific knowledge or something out of statistics. She's actually been there. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's so important. Like you said, everybody gives examples, but when you actually say, this is what happened and this is how I actually used what I'm giving you and how it made a difference, I think that's so important. So I think I give a lot of myself, and that's what I feel is important, because I am human, and it's why I'm in this field, is because I've been
Mm-hmm.
so down on that rock bottom. I've been in so much pain. I'm surprised I got this far. When people who've known me from what I've been through were like, you should have been a drug addict. Didn't think you would even get anywhere just because I was in such an abusive situation, but I didn't. And that's why I think it's important for people to know, I know how you feel. I've been there. I mean, I don't know exactly how you feel because everybody's story is individual, but I
Mm-hmm.
understand the emotions behind your story. And if I can do it, I truly know anybody can. And,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard work. I'm not saying that. You have to put the work, the effort. You need the willingness, as you said before. You need to make a commitment to yourself and to the change and to make a choice to do it. But when you decide to, you're not alone. You can do it, and there's plenty of tips and tools and help out there, and I want to be one of those people who can tell you that and be there for you if you need it.
That's awesome. And I think too, people are afraid of being uncomfortable. They don't like
Yeah.
to be uncomfortable in that space, in that box. Like, okay, I'm just gonna allow fear, which is, what is it? False evidence appearing real. That's what
Yep.
fear is.
But they don't want to step outside their comfort
They
zones.
don't.
They
They
feel very
don't.
comfortable in there, and even if it's a miserable feeling, even if they're so unhappy, at least they know what to expect and how to handle it. The thought to
Mm-hmm.
expand outside that box and step out and not know what's going to happen, as you said, that's really scary. So people are
Mm-hmm.
willing to stay in that misery. But I
Mm-hmm.
think, again, people don't realize they can change. They don't realize that it's so possible and that there's people out there who will help you through it and that you're not
Mm-hmm.
alone. And that's important, because we can't heal, we can't grieve, and we can't forgive alone. We all need a support system. What that support
Exactly.
system looks like is up to you, whether it's friends, family, religious, a counselor, a coach, a mix. It doesn't matter, a teacher, it doesn't matter who it is. It's just knowing you have to have that unconditional love and
Mm-hmm.
support system from at least one or two people to get through anything.
Yeah, and no judgment, because I think a lot of times people,
Absolutely.
they don't want to feel rejected and they don't want to feel judged.
Right.
And you're already feeling like you're a disappointment to yourself. So for you to be a disappointment to other people, it's like an even low blow to your spirit.
Right.
So all that comes into play. But I totally understand. I totally get it. Like when I was going through my process and my growth and all the stuff that I've been through, and evolving, it was hard for me because it was like, wow, like I put myself through this, I put myself through that. I should have known better. I should have, could have, would have. But at the end of the day, it's like you already did it, so you have to own that, take accountability for it, and be responsible of saying, okay, well, I did it. And then, okay, so now what? Where do I go from here at this point? Because I can't go back. I have to only look towards this day and this time. And
Right.
that's what did that for me.
Yeah, no, you do. You have to keep moving forward. You have to heal
Mhm.
from your past, but then look on how to move forward. And I think it's important people realize, if you need to learn to form that trust and you need a safe place because you've been rejected, you've been abandoned, you're still feeling that. That's why coaching and counseling is sometimes the
Mhm.
first spot, for people to start building that because you are in a safe place. We do
Right.
have confidentiality. You're supposed to build trust in a relationship. And right there is a place that you can just start building that foundation. And then from there, you can reach out to other family, friends, again, whoever
Mhm.
you choose to let in your circle. But sometimes
Mhm.
that is the only place for people to start. And it's different for everybody. Not everybody needs coaching and counseling. Some people have better support systems. Some people will use, a minister, a priest, a rabbi, again, a spiritual counselor. That's fine.
Mhm.
It's just knowing what you need and reaching out for it.
Right. And that's the key word, knowing what you need. Once you know what you need, I think everything else will fall into place gradually. And it
Yep.
takes baby steps, but the first step is actually just doing something about it as
Yep, the
opposed to thinking.
self-awareness and the action.
Right. Exactly. Cool. So what tidbits or nuggets or, types of things that you want to give to the audience for them to, know how to go about experiencing happiness in a whole?
Sure. So there's a few different things. What I have my clients do when they first come in for coaching is have them write down a list of the top 5 things that cultivate happiness for them. And why that's important is because one, happiness is an individual thing. So what makes me happy might not make you happy, or a
Hmm.
friend or a family member. So we want to do this just for us. And the other important piece is happiness. What cultivates happiness for us is also cultivating self-care. And we need self-care. We can't give what we don't have. So you want to think of it that way. So if we're not doing things that cultivate our happiness and cultivate self-care, then we're going to feel blah, unenthusiastic about life, low fatigue, low energy. So it's really important to become self-aware and think, what does bring me happiness? And then after you write that list of what brings you happiness, then you want to look at your life and see if you're living in accordance to your list. Because
Hmm.
that's the other thing. A lot of my clients will finally write a list and it takes longer than you think. Because most
Hmm.
people, especially adults, we don't remember what makes us happy. We're so busy worrying about making everybody else happy, our
Hmm.
kids, our spouse, our boss, our parents, that we don't even remember what makes us happy. So it might take you a little while to write that list, and that's normal. So don't judge yourself or beat yourself up over it. Just take your time. And even if you can only get 2 or 3 things, start there. But once you have that list, then look at your life and say, is this working? Am I living in accordance to this? Because if you're not, you can see the disconnect. So
Yep.
then you want to schedule in an activity or whatever it does that makes you happy at least once a week, the way you would a dentist, a doctor, or a business meeting. You really want to set that up in your schedule because we need that to cultivate our self-care, to cultivate our happiness, which improves our confidence. Because when we're taking care of ourselves and we're doing things that make us feel good, that actually boosts our self-esteem. So you get a lot out of it just by doing things that make you happy. So really start thinking along those lines, write out a list, see if you're living that way. And that's a good place for people to start, just to give them a little foundation on finding out what brings them happiness and adding it into their lives.
Awesome. Well, you heard it here first by the happy coach, positive living expert herself. So I hope that you took all those notes down and those little nuggets and tidbits because they're extra, extra, extra special by the one and only Diane Lang. So thank you so much for coming on the show. Much, much, much appreciated. And tell everyone where they could find you, connect with you, work with you, all that good stuff.
Sure. So you could go to my website, which is dlcounseling.com. It's just my initials, DL Counseling. And on there, you can sign up for my free newsletter that comes out every Monday, my happiness newsletter. It just gives you tidbits of information to live your best life. My books are on there, and you can contact me by email for coaching. And thank you so much for having me. It's always been a pleasure working with you, and I
Of
really
course.
feel inspired by you. So thank you again for having
Aw,
me as a guest. And
thank you
congrats on
so
the new
much.
TV show. Now,
Thank you.
new TV too. So that's awesome. So congratulations on all your success.
Thank you so much. Okay, guys, happy Friday once again. Dhylles Victoria here, Queen of Sip and Chat, World Changers TV. Before we leave out, we definitely have to once again thank our sponsors, and that is Zulina Health, Wellness, and Fitness, to Paper Two Film Productions, Meet My Types Matchmaking, Revolution Mills and Renovations, New Covenant of Praise Worship Center. Again, this is Source Radio Network Live Television here right now. Yay! And once again, I'm Dhylles Victoria, Sip and Chat World Changers TV. Hope to see you guys again next week for two more amazing guests. So we'll talk soon. See you then. As always, love and light. If you're traveling, safe travels. If you're home, I'm so happy that you're home safe and sound. Be good to yourself as well as each other. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.
Get at me for beats, yo.